Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Ammar, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to have Eddie Jimenez, the founder and CEO of Primal Trust Consulting. This is a Florida-based firm that's global, that helps small to mid-sized businesses unlock scalable growth through strategic consulting, fractional C-suite leadership, and customized sales and marketing infrastructure. With a background spanning business advisory, executive operations, and international funding networks, Eddie and his team work with founders around the globe to help them build companies that not only survive, but scale with confidence. Eddie, welcome to Founders Future.
Thanks for having me, Ammar. Pleasure being here.
I'm super excited to dive in. I always like to start from the beginning. So take us back to before you started your company, Primal Trust Consulting. What was the motivation? What was the inspiration? And what problems were you looking to solve in the market?
I don't know if we're going to have enough time to really start at the beginning, but the reality is that we see a problem. We spun off a tech company around 2.5 years ago, really putting a lot of muscle towards the end of last year, beginning of this year. And what we realized, Ammar, was raising money is not difficult, despite what people think. Getting money, talking to VCs, talking to people that really want to fund your business or believe in your dreams or your vision, it's not difficult. The difficult pieces are putting the whole thing together. And that really is what made us want to kick this company off the ground and really expand and grow. Helping build the operational infrastructure, the framework, the sales framework, the teams, the marketing component. We realized that a lot of companies, a lot of professionals say, we'll help you with this, but really they'll want to coach you. So we said, let's develop a one-stop shop where
Mm,
we're helping startups, founders, entrepreneurs, small and mid-sized companies not only scale, but give them the tools to really grow and expand.
I love that. Thank you for breaking that down super eloquently. What were some challenges that you faced early on when you were starting your company? Is there any stories, any anecdotes that kind of stick out of things that you really had to get over and maybe times where you felt like giving up?
Man, I love that you mentioned times of giving up because the reality is, and I'm sure every entrepreneur, founder out there, any leader, I could go get a job right now and it's a lot easier than what we're doing. And that's the reality. You could go get a job and work for an awesome company. There's great companies out there that know how to do it well. And you don't have to worry where revenue is going to be coming from or how to drive revenue. You don't got to worry about the operations. You don't got to worry about the whole infrastructure. Times that I wanted to give up is quite a bit, Ammar. I've thought of that quite a bit. But the reality is that there's a fire inside. And too often have I seen great ideas just be tossed out because the founder, A, didn't have the support, starting with your family and closest to you.
Yeah.
Those are the original naysayers. Those are the ones that say, hey, listen, what the hell are you trying to do? You shouldn't be doing any of this stuff. And they have really good ideas and they just throw it out and they give up or throw the towel in before. So I really just started looking at this and I have a great team, Ammar, that really stands by my side. And we started thinking about that and we're like, listen, we're not going to give up. There is not only something here, but we could help companies grow and expand. And guess what? If we help out more founders get closer to their dreams, not only we're going to have better products and services out there, but oh my God, what a trend, what a spectacular growth we could go ahead, tremendous impact we could have out in the community.
100%. Support system is so key. And then also having that fire and drive inside of you, which you clearly have, is I'm sure if you quit and got a job, like you would regret it a couple years later. You seem like that kind of guy.
A couple of years, we're talking about probably like a couple of days, man.
There you
That's the
go.
reality. I
Yeah.
and I've had obviously I've had jobs. My background's quite interesting. I was in the fitness industry for many years. I was in the real estate industry. I was in offshore banking, tech company. The reality, all of these things come together that I'm interested in just providing guidance and through my own struggles,
Yeah.
right? You as a founder, you suffer from imposter syndrome. You look in the mirror and you're like, man, am I enough? Can I
Yeah,
actually get this off the ground? Where am I going to get the support system? Where am I going to get the funding? And you start going into all of these different things, Ammar. But the reality is that, listen, hunker down, go ahead and continue that fire internally and just go do it.
for sure. Help the listeners understand. So you work with startups, founders, medium-sized businesses. Help us understand for your company, who's your core ICP? Who do you love to work with? And what are the different offers and services that you provide? So I know it's about scaling, it's about capital raising. So help us understand for the listeners that know nothing about your company.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where you could actually start to struggle because we do quite a bit. But our ICP ranges between 500,000 ARR to 10 to 15 mil. It doesn't matter necessarily the industry, Ammar,
Okay.
but it needs to be there. So if we're going to work with a startup, it needs to be a funded startup. We would help them either scale their sales division. And I'll actually take a step back. When I talk about scaling a sales division, we actually become the company sales division from
Wow.
top of funnel all the way to closing the deals for the company. When we talk about marketing, we become the marketing agency, right? There's hundreds of thousands of marketing agencies that specialize in quite a bit of different things. What we specialize in is the growth of the company. When it comes to funding, in 12 to 18 months, we're in the process of we're hoping that we could start our own fund to directly invest in some of the companies that we've come across. Today, currently, we have access to over 50 to 60 direct lenders and investors, and they can lend anything between 20,000 to 500 million. It depends on the project. It's all project based, depending on the person that's leading the project. We have an HR and recruitment division, right? We have an IT enterprise development division. So we do quite a bit. So I know that I'm probably getting a little ahead, but that would be the biggest challenge. Imagine jumping on a call and saying, "Hey, Ammar, guess what? We do everything and anything that you want to do." So that becomes a little bit difficult. But the
Yeah.
reality is, when we start looking at the different divisions and verticals, those could easily be scaled.
What do you find to be the one that brings in the most revenue for your company? Because typically when we see this type of stuff, and we've worked with thousands of consultants, agencies, coaches, typically when there's a whole suite of offerings, yes, you did allude to it. There's a huge challenge when it comes to the messaging, when it comes to the sales aspect of it. But we found that 80% of the revenue typically comes from one of those core things. So for you, what does that look like?
Yeah, and that's actually quite easy after trial and error, right? Because you go ahead and you put some muscle behind it, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, the messaging is not hitting home. It's three. Funding is quite easy. A lot of the companies that we work with, they're like, we need funding to grow and expand. Also, we want to get this funding to go ahead and put the infrastructure for us to grow and expand. So funding is an easy way to come in. The top one that we're coming across is our sales consulting piece.
Mm,
The reality is that there's tons of amazing sales trainers out there, right? That they've done tons of different things. They've led companies, they've helped companies grow and expand. Sales trainers are amazing,
yep.
but not a lot of companies are saying, hey, we are going to do it for you. They say, we're going to go ahead and do lead gen. Once again, 975,000 lead gen companies out there. Some do it better than others. Some over promise, under deliver. Hey, we guarantee 20 appointments. Yeah, but what's the quality of those appointments? So as I started looking and working with this, I decided we're not going to do that. We are going to become the sales division. There's a lot of startups, there's a lot of founders that do really good job developing products or doing whatever it is, but they don't know how to sell, and that's okay. That's what we're here. So that is our leading offer and our marketing agency. So the
Mm.
top three products that we have is the funding, the sales, and the marketing.
In that order?
It really is in the sales, funding, and marketing.
Got
But
it.
believe it or not, and that is just currently what's going on right now in the market. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that it's going to stay that, because the more muscle that we put behind any one of the visions, the more it's going to grow. But we are realizing that we're able to land and expand. So we'll go ahead and we'll land with sales, or we'll land with funding, and then we'll be able to introduce another one of our services
Got it.
into the mix.
Yeah. So you have a front end that gets them in, and then from there's a back end where you can offer them more solutions. Do you, with the sales consulting piece, especially doing the sales for them specifically, and essentially they're outsourcing it to you and your company, do you find issues when it comes to scale with that model? Because I can imagine that it might require just a lot of bodies on your end to be able to do that, like on a very big level, if that makes sense.
It does, Ammar. And this is what we have to think. And I know that there's a lot of conversation around AI agents and how AI is going to take over. Maybe one day, right? But currently today, AI is our superpower. If done correctly, it could just layer. So what typically would take 5 to 10 bodies, one body, one person, high level person,
Yeah.
can do it with the right tech, the right systems in place. Now, when you go ahead and you talk about scaling, this is the beauty about our model. And I'm sure if you start digging, there's other models out there, but this is what works for us. We have access to around 1,600 people. That is
Yeah.
not a problem. What I've been able to do over the years and what I focus on is building ironclad partnerships with a lot of companies that do a very specific thing really well. When we started putting the company together, I didn't say, hey, I know how to do everything. I'm the best at everything, and let's go do it. That's ridiculous. And we hear this all the time. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And I knew that from the beginning. I'm like, that's not me. So we built some really good partnerships where we're able to scale. So to
Got it.
your point, companies could go ahead and say, hey, we need help with sales, training, development, playbooks, all of this. We could go that route. Or, hey, we need help becoming the sales division. What we would do is we would be able to scale. Then we could go ahead and decide, A, we're going to turn it over to you, go run it. We could stay on and run it for you. Or we could just feed it and you never have to hire again. We take care of it.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, I like that. So when it comes to the actual lead generation, and I don't mean for your marketing agency, but I mean for your company specifically, how do you bring in clients? What does the lead generation process look like there?
Yeah, this is the piece where I guess having team members and colleagues that are outgoing and are go-getters is extremely important. The reality is, for any startups, any founders out there looking, if you think that you're going to do everything inside of your office or in your room and not going out into the world and being able to scale it, listen, I got something else coming to you, all right? You need to go out there. When you talk about how we get leads, it is a multi-pronged approach. You have to layer it. You do have, obviously, you have to discriminate. I'm not going to go to every single event. Some events are too small, but you need to layer it. From going to networking events, to AI agents, SDRs, to podcasts, to marketing, it has to be a multi-layer approach. And we do quite a bit. Community is all looking at different approaches, not a one size fits all. Some people, they've grown their community, they've grown their leads. I'm on IG, I'm on Instagram, I'm crushing it there. I do some TikTok videos, it goes viral, awesome. But in order to always be relevant, you have to layer those in. So you have to look at social media, you have to look at events, you have to have dedicated, and that's very important, dedicating lead magnets, dedicated CTAs in order to convert and to keep and stay relevant. If you're not doing that, you're missing the boat.
What have you found to be the most effective?
It's a combination, really, but in my opinion, still to this day, and there are going to be people out there that say, hey, no, I don't think so. I have another way. A dedicated team to a vertical, in my opinion, is still the most effective. So we could go ahead and it could be emails, it could be LinkedIn, but it has to be a dedicated team. The days of even with marketing, you go ahead and you go and you hire a CMO, but now you're having that CMO be everything. No, it can't be that way. You
Yeah.
need dedicated teams for those verticals. So social media works absolutely. LinkedIn obviously works. Events work. Cold emailing, despite what people think that it doesn't work, it still works. So all of those work currently for us, Ammar. But the one key thing that I would tell anyone is you need a dedicated team. Doesn't mean that the team you have to hire and train them internally, but you got to connect with a company that knows how to convert and how to do that.
Yeah. Practically and tactically, your dedicated team, what do you have them focus on? Is it LinkedIn? Is it cold email? Is it Like, what does that look like practically, tactically speaking?
I have teams that focus on both. I have teams that focus on LinkedIn alone. And we're always looking for the next greatest and best thing as well.
Yep.
So we're focusing on LinkedIn. I have teams that focus on cold emailing as well. I have teams, Ammar, that focus on networking, that we're going out and we're building connections through the old way, shaking hands, having face-to-face conversations. So that's what I mean. Now, once again, some companies are able to do that. For me personally, I found out that the best connections that we make, at least for me, is through even this. When I take a call, I don't like a phone call. And I know a lot of people just give me a call. No, I want to see your face. I want to see your body language. If I'm boring you to death, Ammar, I'm like, shit, I need to change this up.
Yeah,
So
for
that's
sure.
very important to me.
Yeah. What does the sales process look like? So once somebody comes in as a lead, what are the different steps they go through to become a client?
No, that's a great question. It really depends on the division, but I'll give you at the highest level, Ammar. At the highest level, once we decide to take a client or a prospect and convert them into a client and bring them on, there is an audit process. Normally takes us anywhere between 30 to 40 days. One of the things that I can't stand, companies, once again, over promising, under delivering. Oh, we're going to get you 30 leads immediately. If you're just doing cold outreach, you have to warm up inboxes, domains, mailboxes. A lot of founders, startups, new business owners, they don't even know that if you burn your domain, that's it, you're done. You have to go ahead, you get blacklisted, you got to do something else. But before we even take you on, Ammar, or once we take you on, we do an audit. We become, if we're looking at just the sales piece, we become part of your sales team. Meaning, we need to see your tone of voice. We need to see your brand. We look at your website. I want to know what's working. What is your current go-to-market strategy?
Yeah.
What are you doing? What is the product? That takes us anything between 30 to 40 days. Behind the scenes, there is things happening where we're looking, where can we layer AI? We are an AI native company. So everything that we do, we are layering AI into the mix. Where can we layer AI? What is our immediate connections, our network? Believe it or not, our network plays a huge part into everything that we do. The reality is that we're probably 1 degree connected or 1 degree of separation from anyone that you could think of. That's how big our network is. So we're looking, who can we introduce you to? Who can we push your product to? How can we grow? So that's happening the first 30 to 40 days. Through that process, you have an account, a dedicated account executive that is walking you every step of the way and is helping you. If we're gonna go ahead and push this out to everyone and say, what is the one thing that we gotta work is communication. One of the things that we're keen and very important is the dedicated account executive or account reps that is at your beck and call for anything that you need. So those first 30 to 40 days or more are the most important piece. After that, what we're doing is working on execution and strategy.
Got it. Okay. What do you, I know you touched upon this a little bit, but I'm curious if you'd add anything to this. When it comes to you, this company scaling it, what do you feel is the biggest challenge that you're facing right now that you're working through as the founder?
This is the thing. We can't go out and say we're going to scale your company if we can't scale ours. But the biggest challenge is, at least currently today, is what projects we take on and what projects we don't. Because, and this is what I mean by that, we could go ahead and take on a project that leads us down a rabbit hole where it's not going to help the company grow and expand. At the end of the day, there's certain thresholds and certain revenue markers that we have to hit in order to grow. Our first 12 months, and I'll share it with anyone that asked, our first 12 months, we're aiming for 3 mil. Next 24 months, we're going to double that just because of the infrastructure that we have and the opportunities that are presented. But the reality, the struggle is, what division or what do we put our muscle before the next one? Do we focus on our marketing agency, help that grow? How about our partnership program that we're developing? We're developing a new membership community program as well with a really good partner who is our director of mental performance as well. So there's a lot of things that as a CEO and founder, you have to start peeling back, and hopefully you have the right team or you have access to the right team to delegate those things.
For
I
sure.
think that is my biggest struggle. Founder, you're always after the newest shiny thing, right? Oh my God, let's go do that. Let's go do that.
Yeah,
Oh, let's
yeah.
do this.
For
And even
sure.
if you have the money, right, then you start throwing money after everything, and then you're like, oh my God, I have no time today.
Yeah, but you only have so much bandwidth. Exactly. It's so. Do you find that all of these different divisions introduce complexity when it comes to the marketing messaging, when it comes to the offer itself, when it comes to the fulfillment and the ability to scale? Because it sounds like to me, if you were just focused on any one of these offers, you could easily hit your revenue targets. But maybe spreading your bandwidth, it's a little bit more difficult. But I'm curious what your perspective on that is.
Normally, I would say 100% yes, focus and be the best on one thing. But this is the beauty and why I decided to go this route. What we've been able to do is we've been able to absorb companies into Primal Trust Consulting. So I have principles for every one of these divisions. And that's the only way that we're able to do what we're able to do. By myself saying, oh, we're going to do marketing, we're going to do sales, that's ridiculous. No, first of all, my background's not in marketing. I know what I like to see. I know the idea behind it, but you have branding and then you have marketing. So I have experts that handle that. So I have principals in our marketing division. That's what they're focusing on. I have principals in our sales division. That's what they're focusing on our funding, on our HR recruiting.
Yep.
So that's the only way that why I'm able to do this. If I didn't have that, I would have never done this.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You need to have people that are smarter than you in certain key roles.
Once again, they are a lot smarter than me.
But what do you, what's the best piece of scaling advice you've received? And what would you tell to new founders that want to scale their companies?
Now you're just giving me a really loaded question here because what works for one company doesn't mean it works for the other.
Mm,
The one thing that I'll tell anyone is believe in yourself. Let's start with that because this is going to be the hardest thing that you've ever done in your life. If it was easy, everybody would do it. And despite what people say that there's so many small businesses out there, guess what? There's equally as many small businesses closing every single day because a
yep,
founder decided to throw in the towel and give up. So the number one piece of advice is have a clear vision on what you want to do, which by the way, the vision can and will change as you
yep,
continue to expand, but have a clear vision and believe in yourself. Second piece is surround yourself with the right team. And that includes everything from your personal team, like a spouse, a boyfriend, girlfriend, a significant other will make or break you. I'm only able to do this because of my wife. If my wife wouldn't believe in me and my wife wouldn't be my support structure, I would have already been done. Why? Because you need that support. And then the last piece of advice that I would have to scale your business is put money behind it.
yep,
What you need to invest. If there is a founder that cannot raise money or raise capital out there, guess what? You shouldn't be a founder. You shouldn't be a
100%.
founder. You can't. This
100.
doesn't companies don't grow just on hopes and dreams. You need money behind it.
Yeah. What's the best way for people to reach you?
Easiest way would be on our website, primaltrust.co. Also, my G handles, you can reach me on LinkedIn, Eddie.Jimenez. Primal, you could find me on IG. You could also email me. How about we just keep it simple? ejimenez at primaltrust.co. That's the easiest way. I'm
Cool.
open to that. Shoot me a message and I'll definitely get back to you.
Awesome. So that wraps up another insightful episode of Founders Future. I want to thank you a lot, Eddie, for sharing your journey and your insights with us today. Everybody go check out his company, Primal Trust Consulting. We're gonna link it in the LinkedIn post. But if you're on Spotify, if you're on YouTube, pretty self-explanatory. Now, if you're inspired by today's conversation, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you're looking to scale your business, if you're a coach, consultant, or an agency and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to discover how we can support your growth journey. Until then, keep on climbing.